Today we are going to push my graphics card to the limit to try to get the most amount of FPS, which is better performance, without spending a single dollar out of my GPU, computer graphics. And how are we going to do that? With MSI Afterburner, which is a program that is free online, which can help you do a lot of interesting things. As you can see, I have messed with this, but there's a difference today versus before. Before, anytime I would tune or run a game in a high FPS dealing with beautiful pictures, my game would crash and completely shut down my computer. Recently, I have solved that issue. So the main problem was that my BIOS, which means my motherboard settings, were outdated. So very old software. And a while ago, about a few months ago, I updated it. It was a bit scary, you know, your computer can be completely useless if you mess up a BIOS update. But luckily for me, it was quick, simple, and easy. So now that I don't have that restriction, that obstacle in the way, I can now boost my graphics card's GPU's performance without spending another dollar to get a new one. Now, I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm very optimistic. I think this is going to go pretty well. So what I'm going to do is reset all these settings and turn off this button up here, which turns on my settings every time the computer turns on. Now, you might not understand why you would want this off, but I promise you want this off, because if you mess up a setting and it bricks your computer or causes it to not turn on normally, that button will force it to turn on every single time. And then now you have to do a secure boot, which means booting everything in a secure way where programs will not do their usual thing, which is a nightmare and it takes forever to fix. So we turn that off. If anything goes wrong, it'll restart and it won't turn this on. Any settings, anything won't turn on. So now let's do this. I want to reset everything. Reset. First profile reset. Save. It's going to be a new profile. Oh, we don't have Combustor. Okay, we need to go get Combustor. Let me download that real quick. All right, we have it downloaded. So basically, this is like a stress test. This makes my computer run hot and test my computer's power. So it seems like everything is pretty much dialed in. Let's run the stress test. So basically in this part of the recording, I didn't know what I was doing. So I was trying a bunch of different stress tests and I was looking for the correct one. So I kept changing between different ones. But in the end, I went back to the YouTube video and chose the right one. But I did waste a lot of time on this. But after getting the correct one, I messed something else up. I was doing tests and comparing the FPS and the temperature. The issue is I was lifting the core clock, which is how much electricity was going to the GPU, but I wasn't applying it. So I wasted a lot of time there as well. So now let's skip ahead when I realized I was wasting my time. Thank you. Back to the video. I don't think we've been applying them. Shoot. I've been wasting my time. 20, enter, apply. Ooh, we finally hit 69 degrees Celsius. Once we hit 75, that's danger zone. I don't want to be near that. 70. Oh, we're already hitting 70. Shoot. 280. All right. Our temperatures are going up. FPS is more consistent though. Oh, 280. We're crashing. It crashed. 280. Yeah, we crashed at 280. Reset. And Combustor completely died. I'm gonna close that. Open it again. It was 280. So we're gonna drop it down 20 points. 260. Run it back. 260. Apply. Run. We're going to keep it at 260 because that's where it was happiest. It crashed at 280. That's when it completely just killed itself. Killed the program by itself. I'm going to let it run for a bit. We'll see what happens. All right. It's been going on for a while. I've done some research and checked with AI. It says run this for a long time, like an hour. Then play game. I swear I saw an artifact. No way. You know, I'm going to just drop it by 20 again. I swear I saw an artifact. 240. Let's just keep it 240. Now let's start boosting the memory clock because I want to get this done very quickly. So we're going to get really mixed results. Let's do this. Okay, it seems like the core clock is the same. Only increase it by 20. Let's do this. 20. Anything going wrong? Temperature is going up. Let's try 600. I know this is extremely aggressive, but it should be fine according to ChatGPT. You know, let's just do 900. I don't want to risk anything right now. Apply. We'll pause at 900. I don't want to go too crazy now. FPS is more stable now. Low-key, we could probably lower this to 220 just to be on the safe side. I want consistency, not the max speed, but unreliable. 1000, enter, apply. Our millisecond delay is getting better. I don't know what exactly that is, but it means it's running better, I think. Okay, let me try 1.1. Little aggressive. Oh, little aggressive. Should be fine. Should be. I don't know if we would be. It says anything 1.2 seems super sketchy. Seems fine. 1.3. Hopefully my computer doesn't turn off. 1.4. Still being fine. 1.5. Still running normal. Let me consult ChatGPT. Okay, consulted good old AI. It says I should not continue boosting it after this point, because anything past this, we're going to get to 1 to 2% improvement, which means it's going to boost it just a little bit. So we're going to end this test. I know it's a little not logical. I mean, it's not the best thing to do, but we are going to run a game. Yes, sir. And I know what to run. A good old game called Arc Raiders. Okie dokie, the game opened up. That is step number 1 of everything is okay. We're in game, and right after loading into the game crashed, and crashed again, and again, and a couple more times after that. And during those crashes, I lowered the clocks that I did, both the core clock and the memory clock. And after a lot of trial and error, the numbers that were most stable were 160 core clock and 1500 memory clock. And after figuring that out, let's go see our test results for Arc Raiders. Based on what I saw playing on the practice map, there was basically no difference in FPS whatsoever. Both the overclock and the regular test were identical. The FPS both bounced up and down and stayed around the same FPS. And after that fell, I switched to Cyberpunk. Surprisingly, we did get some results this time. We got a boost of 4 FPS. Now you might say 4 FPS isn't really much, but when it comes to being below 60 FPS, you can really tell the difference between being below it and actually hitting 60 FPS. Even though the improvement wasn't that high, the feel of the game was way smoother. So I say Cyberpunk was a positive win. On to our next game, I tested Fortnite. I loaded into a custom map, stared at the sky to get the most accurate FPS versus the 2 tests. And from what I saw, the FPS on the overclocked version stayed above 300 FPS more often. And not only that, it stayed around 310 and 320 FPS compared to the regular version where it bounced around 280 and 310 FPS. So it was a bit more unstable, which was a great success. After that, I tested Call of Duty Warzone, and no surprise at all, there was no change at all. The FPS still bounced around 120 and 130 FPS, which is exactly the same amount of FPS I would get normally. So getting that out of the way, finally let's hop on to our last game called Stellar Blade. Looking at the FPS tracker, I noticed that there was a small improvement of 4 to 5 FPS, just like Cyberpunk, but there's a small difference. For some reason, Stellar Blade did not like the overclock. While it did hit those higher FPS numbers, there was way more stutters and more instability, which caused the game to freeze at random points consistently, which made it worse to play even though the FPS was higher. So, was this worth it? No. I spent hours overclocking and then hours testing each game separately, getting 2 perspectives, and overall we only got a little bit of improvement, and sometimes we basically got no improvements at all. For how much I invested into this, I basically got almost no return. But to be honest, the 4060 already runs close to its max limit. If you were to have a different GPU, your situation might be more different and you actually might get better results. But for me, I think I'm gonna just go with an undervolt and keep the memory clock high. Since the GPU is already hitting its max potential, I think keeping the thermals down is the best option here. Also, another thing,